Sorry for the lighting. Okay, we're good. Okay, so I'm just going to jump right in. The topic of today is consciousness knows no boundaries. And this is something that uh, is happening right now, right? Underneath everything. So I'm just going to dive into this today. This is my opinion on the situation. This is my opinion on what I see happening and where this is all going. So let's jump right in. Okay, so if you are on Instagram, this link is going to be in my bio, and you can jump on the video version where I go through the article, or you can just find the article in my link in my bio. So there is always a way to find the whole thing. Okay, so the infinite ability that is available to us to tap into is truly amazing, and the capability of how far our minds can expand and the experiences we are actually able to create and manifest with just our intentions is truly amazing. While we are in a war on consciousness right now, most people are not even aware of that. This is also the groundwork under what most are referring to as the Great Awakening, that which is no longer able to be suppressed as it's been for millions of years, right? So what's happening right now is we have the opportunity of full consciousness, and we've always had the opportunity of full consciousness, but as I dive in here, you'll see that, you know, there was a stigma that was put on people who were quote unquote woke or quote unquote awake. And what's happening right now is that that stigma is being dismantled as the majority of people become that quote unquote stigma, right? So the opportunity for full consciousness is being presented to every individual differently right now. It is on like steroids of being easy for everyone to access different situations, world events, or what I call phases that we are going through right now with each wave of awakening. They're gaining more and more people to rise up to this 0 point energy, the all knowing. Okay, those of us that are in this place, have been in this place, are, you know, for many years, or a short period of time, whatever, we know this is not Democrat versus Republican, black versus white, blue versus purple, apples versus oranges. This is spiritually asleep versus spiritually awake. This war is playing out on all levels, all perceptions, timelines, and in many ways to each individual. So depending on your life course, depending on where your life is at, like, opportunities are being presented to you on a high level right now through all of this. So again, it's just on steroids. We've always had access to this. We've always had access to full consciousness, but right now it's being presented more often, we'll put it that way. Consciousness knows no boundaries. So it doesn't matter what religion you align with or don't align with. It doesn't matter what your color is, what your race is. It does not matter what you call your higher power, whether it be God, Jesus, universe, Buddha, angels, Clifford the Big Red Dog. At the end of the day, we all have access to the exact stream of consciousness, that of all knowing. It's the same stream. There's not different streams for each individual thing, okay? It's not a thing. It's all one stream of consciousness, and we just all interpret it and call it different things. And that's totally fine. It doesn't matter. But in many cases, we have been manipulated to think that we don't have access to this. So when we look at this from a higher perspective, we are able to see the suppression of the spiritual involvement. We have all been fed on a silver platter. So from the chemicals that are being pumped into our food, our water, our air, our drugs, our vaccines, yes, all of these things that affect our brain and suppress our consciousness. These are things that, you know, you can, don't take my word for it, research on your own, go for it, go dig, go dive into these things and understand what the long-term effects are of these. So here's a big one that's right in front of our faces, and that is the most, I want to say, socially acceptable, if that's the proper word for it, is fluoride. So do you know the actual reason why on the paperwork at the doctor's office, they ask you to check the little box if there's fluoride in your water? Let's just be straight here. Do you really think the government cares that much about your teeth? No, not at all. They don't. So this was a intuitive, my intuition guided me years ago whenever we were, I think it was like one of the first times we took our son to the doctor. And you ask, they ask you all these questions. Do you have guns in the house? Do you have animals in the house? Um, Random shit, right? And the one was, do you have fluoride in your water? And I got this very intuitive nudge to be like, this is not right. There's something behind this. There's a reason why they're asking this, and it's not for the reason that they're presenting themselves for it, right? So I got this intuitive nudge to start digging, and I found a lot of things, and a lot of it was about mind control. A lot of it was about, why the United States was the most fluoride filled country when a lot of other countries have actually banned that chemical. Okay. Why are there holistic dentists out there that are, or just dentists in general, that are completely against it? You got to search on both sides. And again, there's an article link here and you can go dive for yourself, but there's so much information on this that it's worth questioning. So that's just my little tangent on that. So from the distracted lifestyle we have all been led to accept as normal, plus pile on top of all the chemicals, right? From the divides that are created, the categories that are placed on us, and fueling plus growth of this lack mentality that we're not good enough. And this starts at an early age. It starts from, kids being in school and, and thinking that one person is better than the other. I mean, this goes deep, right? This all ties together. It all compiles, okay? So here's the question that we have to ask ourselves, and I've been asking this, for a while. Who's suppressing our consciousness? Who's not? How do I tap in? Why is this happening, right? So as we continue to navigate this world situation today, you see people taking all of this personally, people lashing out at others who have had a different opinion, criticizing everyone, feeding the need to be right desire. People so narrow and closed-minded to think that all of this is about them. But in a way, they're not wrong. Each time you come up against these feelings of anger, of hurt, of depression, of rage, of just like that you're offended, etc., this is an opportunity to go within and uncover where this is stemming from. It's an opportunity to release more of which is holding you in these negative vibrations. It's an opportunity to question your ego driven self and choose to heal and evolve. So here's a very important thing to remember. An unhealed person will find offense in just about everything. A healed person knows it has nothing to do with them. So there's a huge difference when you are looking at this situation from the perspective of your higher self. With a clear stream of consciousness, you know that as people get angry, as people judge, condemn, lash out at you, whatever, or other people, it is only a projection of themselves. It's only a projection of where their inner being is at vibrationally right now, and a projection of their lack of full consciousness. This is not just about politics. This is not just about a virus. This is about consciousness. This is about being woke. This is the big picture. So if you're on the article, here's a map of spirituality. So this, again, I love this because it's very descriptive, but it's simple. So if you're new to this, if you're new to consciousness, to the concept of it, to even understanding that this isn't just something, that happens to random people, here it is. So whenever we look at this scale, we start out at, so like it goes in dimensions. So it starts off like the bottom, and then the third dimension, fourth dimension, fifth dimension, all the way up to the 12th. And whenever you look at this, you can see that the bottom starts out with very negative emotions. You know, we have shame, despair, fear, anger, pride, and then it goes all the way up to full consciousness. Now, if you've been into this, or if you have even heard of people talk about this, you know how we live in the third dimension. We live in a 3D reality, okay? And that's purgatory is what it says. That's our lower selves. That's where we have been suppressed for so long and held down from. So there's fear, anger, pride. Those are the three main things that live in that third dimension. So whenever you look at this and you see how our consciousness has been suppressed for so long, you see that fear was the biggest driving factor of that, right? We have been fed so much fear. By who? Right? Okay, and that's the questions that you have to ask yourself. So why are we being fed fear, right? You know, and so then now, as you know, we are moving into the fifth dimension through this. Okay, so we are moving through, basically we're moving just through the fourth dimension and into the fifth dimension, and there is so much research and articles that you can read on from like spiritual teachers and things like that, of moving from the third dimension to the fifth dimension, and why we're not staying in the fourth dimension. Okay, fourth dimension isn't somewhere that you can really it's just a travel. It's like a tunnel. You just travel through it. In the fourth dimension, we have courage, we have optimism, we have acceptance. Okay, so that is where we are traveling through right now. And as you can see this play out again on many different levels, in many different timelines, on many different scales. Okay, so we're having courage to power through these situations that are coming at us, right? We have acceptance of, you know, or first optimism. So we have optimism. We can see, okay, there might be light at the end of this tunnel, right? This might be something that is creating so much of a issue that all of the dark comes to light, which is what I believe is actually happening. So again, optimism. You're moving into this phase of anchoring in that and anchoring in, oh wow, there's a lot of good coming out of this. And then it's understanding. It's acceptance. Acceptance of yourself, acceptance of other people, acceptance of the truth. And that is what a lot of people are coming up against right now. So we're having acceptance that they have been, you know, their opinions might be wrong, have been wrong for years. The acceptance that we were lied to for many, many, many years. The acceptance that we were suppressed and held back from so many things for so many years. Okay, the acceptance that what we believe to be truth is actually not truth. So as we are traveling through this, and this kind of gives you a idea of how to understand where other people are at. And not everyone is going to understand this. Not everyone is going to accept, you know, there's a lot of people that might stay in that third dimension. It's going to be painful, but they will hold themselves there because they think that that is safer and a lot easier than moving forward in healing. Okay, you see a lot of that just in everyday life. So again, they want to hold on to their excuses. They want to hold on to their pain. They want to hold on to their trauma. They want to use it as a reason, as an excuse. And you're going to see that. And you're going to also see a lot of people, which we have been seeing, all these people that are moving through it. Okay, so whenever we get to the fifth dimension, this is paradise. This is, you know, our higher self. This is the beginning of our planetary self. So it's understanding, it's inner wisdom, and it's inner love. So again, we're going to that understanding. We're going to that inner wisdom, our intuition, okay? You know, tapping into that, and then our inner love of that is going to be the dominant presence on this earth. Okay, so this just gives you a little bit of, actually not a little bit, it gives you a lot of information in just this chart. Save it, keep it on hand, print it out, hang it on your wall, whatever. It's just going to, it's a great resource to have. Okay, so whenever you reach your higher self, you see this so much more that you, you see that this is so much more. This is a deeper healing, cleansing operation that is taking place right now. You were put here at this time for a reason, to be a part of it. This is about collective healing. This is about evolution, ascension, fifth dimension, saving the children, okay? This is about no longer being a sheep and opening up to experience life through the clear, sovereign lens that is your birthright, okay? Everything below that is smoke and mirrors. That is what we are seeing right now, okay? We are literally seeing the collapse of everything, this old world, and every part of it right before our eyes, okay? A lot of times you have people that are getting caught up in the distractions of it. It's unnecessary, and it's just, again, tapping into that intuitive knowledge. When people are asleep, they obey orders. When people are asleep, they believe everything that they are fed. When people are asleep, they don't question the narrative. When people are asleep, they slave away their lives for someone else. Because what happens when people are awake? What happens when people are no longer able to be controlled? What happens when the sheep no longer support the negative forces? Their dark system falls apart. They fall apart, and the people take their power back. The people only need themselves. And this is what we are seeing happen right now. And this is just to point out something that, on a physical level, of if you want evidence of this, you can see that in the first 17 minutes of President Trump's inauguration speech, he outlines that. He outlines the power back to the people. So this is not only in the United States that this Great Awakening is happening. This is where the grit is being done, but this is the biggest awakening in the history of mankind, and it is worldwide. It is universal wide. So if you go online and you Google the Great Awakening, you're going to find a lot of things, okay? You're going to find out, just a lot of insight on this, and how this is not something new. This is not something that just came about in the last couple years. This is again part of evolution. So but even putting all the physical evidence aside, when you go within, you will be able to notice the shift and you will feel the truth. So again, you don't need outside sources to confirm things for you. Whenever you are tapped in, tuned in, turned on, you know things. You don't have to seek. When you disconnect from the noise and listen to the omnipresent voice that is inside of you, you begin to clear that fog, the years that have built up a bit, okay? So you have years and years and years of this fog. Our intuition is a superpower that we have been told to outsource for so long, okay? And that time has ended. This goes on to outsourcing your well-being to those of, not saying don't go to the doctor, but there are a lot, have been fed to believe that we need a doctor to fix everything. We need a doctor, or just a cover-up, right? When you pay attention to your body and you listen to your intuition, it talks to you, it tells you what you need, okay? It's really freaking cool, and we have been robbed of that, and by no fault, other than the people that are creating that, because again, this is a lie we've been fed. So as you continue to give your yourself, your higher self, the time to show itself, to surrender to what is real, you'll feel the presence more. You'll hear things differently. You'll see things differently. You will slowly move from acting from the ego to acting intuitively. You'll feel superhuman because you are. You'll know things without even having to search, question, or ask. Okay, this is called clairvoyance. And this is one of the greatest superpowers that I have, that I am so grateful for. And you can access it too. Everybody has access to this, okay? We are superhuman beings, okay? And clairvoyance is just one little superpower that we have, okay? So there have been many instances, ever since I started tapping into this, and even as a kid, you notice them, and some people call them, your gut instinct, or some people call them just like, well, I don't have any evidence to back that up, so why would I believe that type of thing? And then you turn around and you end up being right. So there have been many instances where I have had I just know, I just know, and I don't know how I know, but it resonates, and it's truth. And eventually it ends up being confirmed. you know, and as you journey through this, you learn how to trust your intuition more. You learn how to use that as your source rather than the internet. Okay, so these are things that we can all access and play around with in a sense of, you know, creating an amazing life from within. So as we move forward and rise up together in the collective consciousness, you know, this great awakening, life will get brighter. Internal and external vision will get clear. Light will be dominant and the truth will be only found within. I'm not saying that there is not going to be any, you know, wrongdoing, any evil on this earth. I'm not saying that, but what I'm saying is it is the light is going to be in control. And whenever we are in this fifth dimension, okay, and that is what we are seeing right now. And a lot of spiritual teachers are calling this the changing of the guard from dark to light. So whenever you are exploring this, you're going to hear that term. I've heard this term from, again, multiple people. So in the spiritual realm, this is where this, you know, this is what they're referring to as dark to light. So I personally have been doing this, and I encourage everyone to, you know, give yourself the time of day to connect, to build on this muscle, to get excited, to do your part. Okay, disconnect from the outer war and focus on healing the one within, because when you do this, you always win. Literally, you always win, because you end up feeling lighter, you end up feeling better, you end up literally just shifting your body, shifting your consciousness, shifting your energy to a place of higher vibrations, to a place of all knowing. Okay, so this is, you know, this is where we are headed, to this amazing, abundant, bright world that we are creating, where the steady flow of consciousness flows through the majority. This suppression is being lifted. Welcome to the birthright of your soul. So literally, like, this is what we are experiencing right now, and this is something to get very, very excited about, because it's an amazing time to be alive, despite what we are being fed on mainstream media, right? Like, it's so exciting. This is going to be, like, again, this is the biggest thing that's happened in history, and I don't know how long. So it's super exciting. So down here at the article, Amy, down here at on the bottom of the article, I share some of my favorite sources of consciousness. And again, if you Google this, you're going to be able to find your own things. But 3 of my favorite people are Abraham Hicks, who I've referred to quite a few times, Infinite Waters, also known as Ralph Smart, and Gaia, which a lot of people have probably heard of, because it is like an evolution channel, basically. And I think they have their own network online where you can, like, pay to listen to all their stuff, and they have, like, lots and lots of things on there. But it goes from consciousness, it goes to you know, like extraterrestrials. Like, there's lots of things on there that you can find. It's really cool. So as you explore that, you know, again, you can be led in many different directions and find many different things. These are 3 of like 300 that I've come in contact with. These are just sources that I follow almost religiously. So, okay, guys, that's it. That's my article. I hope that you enjoy it. If you have any questions on any of this, feel free to put them in the comment section. Know that I am not going to debate this. I'm not going to, you know, get into a consciousness war with anyone over this. If this resonates with you, feel free to share it. If you feel like this helped you out, let me know. If you feel like someone else needs this, feel free to share it with them. Okay, so, all right, guys, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will talk to you again soon.